All right, I'm here with Evan. How are you?
Good, I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. So before we dive into, I have 5 questions here. Would you mind just telling us who you are a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm Evan. I'm the founder and the manager of BlgnMarketing. We focus really specifically on post-click landing pages. I know we'll get into that, but that's essentially what we do. And we help tons of store owners and people who are running lead gen campaigns and stuff like that.
That's great. So I think that's a really interesting topic for the group, just because landing pages or post-click landing pages are usually very effective to send traffic to, as opposed to directly to a product page or something like that. So I'm very excited to be talking with you about this topic. So first question is, about your background a little bit. How did you end up building BLGN? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. So, I was working for fairly large companies, working on acquisition teams, and I kind of learned this set of skills that I really enjoyed, which was, managing paid traffic and testing and optimizing, all that sort of stuff. So I went out on my own about 2 years ago, and I found this really niche, which is managing just the post-click landing pages. So we don't work on any of the campaigns themselves. We don't work on any of the actual, stores doing any CRO on the stores themselves. We specifically work just on the landing pages. Generally, that means I work with someone's PPC guy, maybe their designer, and work with the team to optimize that one specific part of their funnel. And yeah, basically I went out on my own about 2 years ago, started doing that. And over time, just kind of perfected my skills. There's always space to learn, and I'm always learning. And that's essentially the space that I work in today.
That's good. So you sort of answered my second question already, but can you dive a little bit more into your specialty, your services, perhaps? How do you help the store owners?
Right. So I'll speak specifically to store owners because I think, this group is really mostly about e-commerce and stuff like that. So essentially for stores that are running paid campaigns, whether it be, search or on social, whatever it may be, frequently you mentioned in the beginning, they're running their ads right now, maybe to a product page or just to their home page. So where we come in is we help kind of make the funnel a little more efficient by creating specific, standalone landing pages. So they may be a part of the website, they may be separated outside of the website, but the goal is essentially to take the goal of the campaign and do everything that we can on the landing page to make sure that things are working towards that goal and to optimize those results. So for store owners, if they're single product stores, for example, and they're trying to get their product out to a bunch of people, maybe for whatever reason their store itself is not in the best position to be used for paid ads. So we can recreate sort of environment with just standalone landing pages that allows us to more effectively test and measure results. And, it gives us a more efficient environment to kind of help store owners get the results that they need to get. I mean, that can also be for a retargeting campaign. Somebody was maybe already on the website looking at a product, and now a retargeting campaign is being run for that specific product. We can create a standalone landing page, which is not necessarily bringing them back to the product page, but bringing them to a landing page that has, other information, testimonials, and that sort of stuff. Advertorials for native advertising. A lot of stores now are interested in native, and maybe they want to run advertorials. Those are always done through these sort of post-click landing pages. And I don't know, holidays, events, if there's a Christmas or a Black Friday, sometimes they don't necessarily want those sales or those changes reflected on the website. We'll use single landing pages for that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities for various scenarios to use post-click landing pages, and like you said, retargeting. So there's a lot to do there, and I think most stores don't really take advantage of it. They don't leverage that capability. So you mentioned something about results. Can you dive a little bit into what kind of results you've gotten for clients?
Yeah, sure. So just to dovetail with what you just mentioned, I think that's totally true that a lot of stores, at least that I've worked with and that have brought us on, right now a lot of their campaigns may be running directly to their website. And so the landing page gives us opportunity to really improve on the results of the paid campaign. So that can mean a decreased cost per acquisition, for example, or if it's maybe a lead gen campaign, a decreased CPL, cost per lead. An increase in the ROAS and the returns on the ad spend, because we're able to essentially improve those results through iterative testing. And also one of the huge advantages that we get with these standalone landing pages is page speed. So by being able to provide pages that load quickly and are served fast, especially on mobile, the advertising platforms really like that. So your quality score will go up on Facebook, your ad relevancy score will go up. And those are the results that we generally see for our clients. So it's decreased cost per acquisition, increased return on ad spend, increased overall conversion rate on the page, whatever the goal is, an increase there. And one of the huge, positive results that we have is, I guess it's not a result, but it's kind of an effect of setting up this whole landing page thing, is the ability to more accurately measure the results. So right now, maybe a lot of stores, they're just pouring traffic into their pages or their website, and they don't know what's happening with that traffic. Where are people going? How are they converting? Are they converting? What's happening? And with these post-click landing pages, it creates an environment where we can really more accurately measure, optimize, and if there's enough traffic, test as well.
So in terms of speed, you did touch on that topic. So I'm assuming it's just because the pages are simpler, there's no platform behind it. It's just HTML, CSS, images, right? So is that the main reason why it's a lot faster?
Yeah, it's generally that. There's no platform. It's just a single page with a single role. It can also be something as simple as, we strip the page of all functionality. So there's no sliders, no carousels, nothing. It's just a very basic page, which really helps us with page speed. And the last thing is also we leverage, platforms. So Instapage, Lead Pages, Unbounce specifically, these platforms have worked really hard to create, content delivery networks, which are super fast. So we can leverage those and set up the pages there. And, we don't have to worry about our WordPress site or our Shopify site, the page speeds there. And we can really take advantage of the platforms, which can, you can get pages that serve much, much faster.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well, that these tools, Unbounce and Lead Pages, for example, are quite fast. So that's great. So what makes a highly converting post-click landing page? What are the sort of components that you need on there?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I like to kind of think about it there's kind of three separate elements. I mean, first is the copy on the page. So the copy and what you're saying is hugely important. You want to make sure, the user's expectations, what they see on the ad is actually what they're seeing on the landing page. Is there a message match between what you're saying in the ad and the landing page? And, what is your product? What is the problem you're trying to solve? Like, these are really big questions that your landing page needs to answer. So copy is hugely important. And along with copy is the layout of the page. So there's certain elements which are really important to have on every landing page. I mean, this is very general, but, social proof, so testimonials, you want to have some brag bar, maybe companies you work with, places you've been featured, that sort of stuff. If it's, if you're talking about the product, the benefits and the features of the product, these are kind of like the basic building blocks of the landing page. And essentially you want to be answering the question, what is the problem that you're trying to fix? How do you do it? And why should you be the one to fix the user's problem? So that's kind of like the copy and the layout on the page. And then there's the technical stuff, which kind of goes back to what we spoke about, a simple page or using one of these platforms to properly build the page. And lastly is design. Design can do a huge amount in terms of credibility, making your brand look credible and looking like it has, weight behind it. I'm less of a believer in terms of like colors of the buttons and that sort of stuff, but I do definitely think that design in terms of, how the overall aspect of the page looks and simple stuff like, on mobile, making sure the button is large enough to press and making sure the text is large enough to read. All that sort of stuff is also really important in terms of the conversion rate of the page.
I'm not sure if I got that right, but you mentioned in terms of components, the why, the problem, the solution, and then the how. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So in which order, is that usually in that order that you want to do it? You'll mention, you'll relate to the problem and then you'll tell them what the solution is. And then
it kind of depends on the stage of the funnel, but if we're talking about like the highest stage of the funnel, I generally like to push for in the hero section or the first scroll, so the very, very top of the page, to directly address the user's problem and say how you're going to solve it. So if it's a pillow, it's the world's newest, best pillow. You want to say something along the lines of the most innovative pillow to help you get the best night's sleep. Like really attack the pain point and the thing that the user is experiencing in order to answer their problem. And then throughout the page, you can kind of explain, why you're the best. Use the rest of the meat of the page to kind of bulk up your claim and show that, you're authoritative and why they should believe you.
Mm-hmm. So would you go as far as really pressing, on the pain point, or just saying, here's a benefit which relates to your problem, but not really, increasing their pain?
Yeah, I understand. I would say, I would lean more towards the second where we're emphasizing the product and not necessarily the issue the user is having. Okay. That being said, there are very specific instances where, long form content does kind of work, and that kind of depends on the demographic and what it is that you're selling. But I think in general, that's less of what I think the emphasis should be put on. I think it should actually be put on the solution, not the problem that the user has.
Right. So that you're actually bringing up a good point. How long should the page be?
It's another great question. Again, it really depends again on the stage of the funnel and what the product is and stuff like that. But I think the bare minimum of a page is a hero section. So again, that top section with a title, subtitle, and a call to action, benefits and features, social proof, and then, a call to action. That's the bare minimum. And if you have that, it can be a very, very short page. It can be, four sections that have just a few sentences on them each. So, right. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. I mean, it gives us an idea. It doesn't have to be, like you said, a long form, 50 pages long. It can be just a couple of screens long or something like that. 4 sections. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially for, sorry to cut you off, but especially for social ads, like where the users are coming with very low level of, patience and they don't have a ton of, they're looking for a quick solution, or they're looking to quickly scan and see what's going on. So specifically for social, I would definitely go down that route. For native and search, it can be a little different, but yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Okay. And let's wrap up with maybe your 3 pieces of advice for store owners, maybe relating to landing pages.
Yeah. So I would say start with, taking a step back and getting an understanding of, for you, what has worked in the past, what hasn't worked. And if that means, looking at past ads and whatever, try and get an understanding of what results for you have worked in the past. And if you can, set up an environment to measure that. So that way you can have, real metrics to prove that to you. And then once you know what's working for you, double down on that, put your efforts there. And when you realize what's not profitable for you and what's not bringing you sales, forget about it. Either leave it to the side or try and think about what you need to do to change it. Another thing I would say is strategize your funnel. Like, don't just pour traffic into your website. Don't just pour traffic into a page. Really think about, how you're going to take advantage of that traffic because you're spending money on it. So whether that means, setting up a logical flow of what each step in your funnel is going to be, or how you're going to retarget, or tailoring your message to special segments or special, stages of the funnel, really think that out and draw it out ahead of time. So that way, what you're going to build when you go to build it. And lastly, I would say is just if you have enough traffic, to test, because no one knows what's going to work. I can hypothesize and I can bring my experience and my anecdotal evidence, but I don't know for a specific niche, for a specific client, what is actually going to work. So the only way to really figure that out is to come with a hypothesis, test, get results, and from there learn and move forward and continually test.
Mm-hmm. And double down on the successes.
Exactly.
Okay. We'll put the link to your website below, the video I'm going to post in the group. What's the best way to reach you? Is it email, phone, website?
Best way is just through the website. I mean, anybody who's interested can take a look at the website. We have contact information there. And if anybody has any questions at all, we'd be happy to answer. Feel free to reach out, and we're here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your wisdom. I think it's going to be very valuable, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks. You too.
Have a great day.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Cheers.